child gets the wrong answer. It's much safer if he makes mistakes with you than out on the street.
Are you home by yourself now?
Much better to make a mistake when it's only a game.
Could you tell me what the phone number is, please?
99671.
Of course, eventually, it's up to the adult to direct the child to the right answer.
Should Alex have told everybody all that information? What might you want to do if you got the same phone call? Yes.
I would say nothing. I would just hang up the phone right after I said nothing.
Wouldn't that be kind of rude?
Yes, it would be rude, but if nobody should know, I shouldn't give out any information.
When you play what-if games with your children, don't stop too soon. When you hear the answer you want, you may be tempted to stop. Don't. Dig a little deeper. Ask why. Why not?
For example, one mother we spoke to played a what-if game with her son. She said, what if a nice man asked you to help him look for his puppy? Would you go? The child shook his head and said, no, no way. This mother went one step further. She said, what if the man asked you to help find his kitten? Would you go then? The child said, sure, that's different. Kittens need more help than puppies if they're lost. So the boy wouldn't go off with a man looking for a puppy, but he would go off and look for kittens. If the mother hadn't gone the extra step, she would have thought her son understood about not going off with strangers. Clearly, he didn't. You never know what your child's weak spots are unless you play what-if games and play them thoroughly.
What if I did this? What if I pulled over to the side of the street and I said, hi, you guys don't have to help me, but I got some candy I'd like you to have. Would you like some of my candy?
No.
Oh? Well, what if I did this? What if I pulled over to the side of the street and I said, hey, your mom just called me up.
So remember what-if games. They're easy and they work.
Come on, get in the car.
No.
No? You're not going to come with me?
No.
Did they do the right thing?
Yeah.
If you think they did the right thing, how about some applause for these guys? I think they did a great job. Well, you guys are enthusiastic.
How to raise a street-smart child. We've covered a lot of ground trying to show you how to do it, and we hope we've armed you with some of the tools you need to help your child survive in this often dangerous world. It's an important job, so let's go over some of the basics.
Tip number 1.
911.
Make sure your child knows the emergency number 911.
911.
And that he knows to dial O for operator and ask for help.
Hello, operator.
Tip number 2. Be certain your children know their full name, address, and telephone number.
My phone number is 340-9525. My address is 21820 Mr. Del Monte Avenue, apartment 6.
Tip number 3. Remember, even adults are fooled by good-looking bad guys. Make sure your child knows what a stranger is and what to do if he's approached by one.
Well, I would say no and run away as fast as I can and get help.
Tip number 4. Work out a secret code word with your child. It works. For a person to abduct a child, he must first get the child to trust him. One way to stop this is with a code word.
Like if somebody comes up to you in a car, what I'd say is I'd say, what's the code word? And if they didn't know the code word, I'd say forget it and just go away.
Make up a code word for me right here on the spot.
Pumpkin.
That's not your real one, though, is it? What's your real one?
Not allowed to tell. My code word's machine gun, but now that I told you, and now that it's on film, I'm going to change it.
Tip number 5. Play what-if games.
What if this happened to Carlos? Carlos, we're at the mall, and,
Better to imagine the worst than to experience it.
Well, when Carlos, in 5 minutes, went back to the shoe store, his dad was gone. What if that were to happen to you? What would you do? What are you going to do, Carlos?
Like, wait there for a little while.
Uh-huh.
And if he wasn't there, I'd go for help.
Tip number 6. Don't make your child a target. Don't make him an easy mark. Remember, kids with personalized clothes and kids who are dressed differently stand out from the crowd. They're more likely to attract a criminal's attention. Tip number 7. Give your children control of their bodies. Don't make body parts a taboo subject.
My stomach, my penis, my legs,
Make sure they can talk comfortably about all the parts of the body.
feet, and my toes.
If they can't, they won't be able to understand the difference between good touch and bad touch, and they won't be able to tell you when something is wrong.
But a bad touch is something like when someone you know or you don't know is touching in your private parts.
Tip number 8. Perfect little ladies and gentlemen aren't always safe children. A polite child isn't always a safe child. Give your child permission to not always obey adults, to say no to adults if something feels wrong.
No! No. Leave me alone.
Tip number 9. Children who are lost or in trouble often panic. They'll go up to anyone for help. Teach them to look for someone in a uniform, someone in charge, a store clerk, a bus driver, a police officer. Tip number 10. Teach your children to run away from danger. They can sense danger. Teach them to trust those instincts. If they feel threatened in any way, teach them to run away and scream, run to a crowded place, run for their life. Teaching your child street smarts is the closest we can get to playing it safe in today's world. We may not be able to change the world, but as adults, it's our job to prepare our children for the world as it is. And we can do it. I played John Walsh in the movie Adam. That experience brought me very close to the grief and horror of losing a loved child. Growing up street smart and safe will mean a lot to the children. It will mean a lot to all of us. I'm Daniel J. Travanti. Thank you.
This film is dedicated to the memory of Adam Walsh and all victims of child abuse. We would like to thank all the children who appeared in this film, none of whom were victims of child abuse.